Hey everyone, so bit of a different setup again. Didn't have a proper wrap up I think in the last video, mostly because I ran out of time when I wanted to post that. I kept having problems with my machine, so I didn't end up finishing my corset. My main priority at the time was the Harry Potter potions dress, because I went to the studio tour with my mum last week. It is now, one sec. Okay, it is Friday the 13th, so probably not the best day superstitiously to start filming this, but I am. Sorry about that, Bailey wanted to go up. Okay, so the potion dress obviously is now done. I spent most of this week now editing all the photos. I ended up taking about over 1,000 photos and about 6 hours of filming, which I've been posting on YouTube, TikTok and Instagram. So keep an eye out for that, 'cause I did on YouTube post about 40 minutes of just the unedited footage all together in one video, and I've been putting YouTube shorts up, so everyone is getting it. It's just as I'm editing going through, I will be posting pictures on Instagram and TikTok as well. So that's that. So back to this. I have now bought my Comic-Con ticket. I did want to wait until after the postage date had passed, which I normally do, and just pick up, because I have the disability thing. I go to a different queue, so I would just pick up my ticket, get my disability sticker, and I'm done. Unfortunately, for some reason, tickets went on a massive sellout, and it went to tickets are on 95%, at 75% sold. I bought my ticket, like that was posted at night. I bought mine the next morning, and by that evening tickets for weekend were 100% sold out. So weekend tickets for London Comic-Con October are sold out, so you have to now buy them each day if you want to go. So that was fun. Was a little annoyed obviously because I said you have to pay postage on top of it, but I have my ticket and it will probably be here in the next few weeks, that means. So one sec. So I will obviously have a post when that arrives and show everyone the ticket. So back onto sewing then, because I now have, I believe, since it's the middle of September, I have about just over 6 weeks to do this. And I still haven't picked out what trims I'm doing for the dress. And that is because I don't yet know how wide my hem is going to be. And that is because I want to cut out the bodice and everything first, because that is a separate piece to the skirt. And from that skirt I want to possibly make a petticoat to go underneath this as well. So I need to work out how much fabric I have left to make the skirt. Then from that I can make the petticoat and the skirt. I should have, because I have 10 meters of the fabric, including cutting out the lining and everything, I should have about 6.5 to 7 meters left. My hope is to do the skirt as about 4 or 5 meters wide, giving myself 2 to 3 for the petticoat. So as I said in my last video, all the top of the corset is pinned to, although it's a bit creased now, but as I'm pulling it should still all even back out into place. So I am going to sort out my machine and get the top of this sewn on. I will be switching to white thread, even though it's not going to be completely visible to that. But I also want to try and today get people might recognise it, this done. And yes, it's completely done and it was nice. My nanny, and I know some with him, not nanny as in she looks after his in, this is my dad's mum, but I had about 8 relatives that were nan, nanny, nana and all that when I was younger, so this is nanny. This dress was still too long, so I took 10 centimetres off, which is about, I think, 2 inches, and it still needs another 2 inches taken off of it. So yes, she is a bit short, so that will be another task to make this shorter. So I'll be marking out, because the jersey is so not nice with how it stretches, I do have to pin the lines rather than mark, so it takes a bit longer to do. So by the end of the week I am hoping to get this. My dad is seeing her on Tuesday, I think, so I want to try and get this done over the weekend so that he can take it to her on Tuesday. So that's that. So yeah, also get the whole top of the corset done and then start pinning the bottom together and possibly get that sewn as well today. We will see. On another note for corsets, I found this, which is a bought one. I think I bought this probably, I don't know what I say, about 15 years ago. So I haven't had much wear out of it. It's a bit small for me now, but and it's going to be one under. My idea was to, I will have to probably take all the lacings out and see how much it is, if it fits. If it does, I'm just going to take a strip of black fabric and sew in a modesty panel so that you don't see my back through it, just to also help straighten the line out a bit from there. But this means I might not have to go through all this again to make a black corset. We'll see how that goes, but hopefully, fingers crossed, that actually might work. I do also have the purple and Japanese print skirt to finish. My only thing is I need to get better at zippers. I avoided them like the plague because they never looked right. And if you look at the back of my Emily dress, it does not look nice at all. Luckily the hair and the wings cover it, so I wasn't too worried. So I've completely left this open. So for some reason I can't ever go out. I am gonna look up a load of videos and see if I can just find some way of doing that. But so my hope is, as it is Friday, my goal is today and tomorrow to work on the corset, and I'm going to then have help fitting it and sew the zip for that in. So my goal is to have this corset done by Sunday, and then at the latest Monday get back to working on the mock-up for Sleeping Beauty. As I said in the last video, it fits nice in the front, but the back is too small at the top and bottom. Unfortunately, I do have wider shoulders, and my back, due to scoliosis, curves incredibly more inwards into my body than it should, causing everything to shift forward. So I do have, a lot like Monster High dolls have that very deep arch back, I have that. So it's terrible for my posture. In truth, it does not look good, but I also have several problems because of it. So my back, I usually in shirts sometimes have to go up a size, or when I'm making my own clothing, if it wants to be more tight fit, I end up doing a lot of the time a V with my back panels to make them fit. So I'm going to get out my mock-up fabric, cut 2 10 centimetre pounds, which is going to be more than I need. So there's it in, and from there I should be able to then just put it on inside out, and I'm going to have, like I said, help like with the corset to take in little by little from the different seams, if need be, all at the back or possibly the sides as well, and try it on to get the right fitting. And then as soon as that's done, I can disassemble the pieces. Like I said, as soon as I know if it's actually on, I can start making the changes to the neckline, which I want to be just slightly lower. But I don't want to lower it too much because I need seam allowance for it. But also, I think I need to make it slightly longer in the front as well, just because I'm not sure how it sits yet, but that's obviously because I haven't been able to fit it to me properly. So it might, when it's actually on me properly, not need length at all. So that is my hope, as it means less changes. But my hope is, because of how simple it is of literally front, sides and back panels, I have a sleeve pattern that I have used multiple times as a full length sleeve, which comes to my wrist perfectly to be the sleeve pattern for this bodice. So it is hopefully just going to work, and then I might have it assembled as soon as possible. The skirt is going to, I haven't chosen if it's going to be elasticated or if I'm going to actually have a closure on it. I will see when I get closer to cutting the waistband and such what I feel like, and then it's going to be decorating from there. And then as soon as I have, like I said, all of it sewn together, or at least decided the skirt, I can buy the trims. I've got about 10 trims in watch lists on various different websites that I can use. So it is just a case of, as soon as I know how much I need, I can buy them. They'll be here in anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks, and I can get all that sewn on done. Then Emily is, like I said, is completely constructed, so any changes I make are repairs to the wings, as they did start to come apart, so that's hot gluing. I might have a video on just that. And then I want to add some more decorations and other pieces to Emily to just change it a little bit. And my third costume for the convention I was thinking of was Nifty, and I have the pattern for that as well, which might be, okay, I think I've, no, that's it. Ah, here it is. This is the pattern I plan to use for Nifty, and I have all the fabrics for it. And again, this uses a lot less fabric than the full length dress, but I managed to get a 10 meter length on the special. So dress, about 4.5 meters it says, so that would leave me about 5 meters of the fabric, which should be more than enough, obviously, to turn into a petticoat, as Nifty's more based on 1950s. I do own a black petticoat already that I was planning to wear. So depending on time, I'm going to make either a petticoat or buy some boning to make a small crinoline to go under this. But that also depends. I'm keeping an eye on the weather, because obviously I don't want to be absolutely freezing. So I might, like I said, I will do the mock-up for this, and depending on how easy the mock-up is, I will decide that, because I have already decided on the next 2 projects I'm going to work on. One of them I have all the materials for, one of them I have about half the materials, but because it's multiple pieces I could possibly get started, but we will see how that goes. So I will finish here and, like I said, get started. Okay, so update, it is now Friday evening, and I have managed to get the bias binding sewn onto, well, most of it onto the top and bottom. So next step is to fold it over and sew it down. Each side is probably going to take me about 45 minutes to sew that. So I'm going to hopefully get that done tonight, which would mean tomorrow the only thing to do is pin, and then pin on the zip, try it on just to make sure it fits, as I did add some extra room in case the boning channels made it a little bit smaller, and then fold over and sew in the zip. So I'm hopefully going to have that done tomorrow, since I had the machine out anyway. These are a pair of I think the correct term is house trousers. That I don't wear them out of the house. These are just, I wear them when I'm just lounging around the house, sewing when I'm comfortable. But the pattern I made this from, the legs, well, as you can see, they're ridiculously wide still. When I originally made these, they were about twice the width, and I had a couple of problems sewing bits together. It was a bit of the pattern didn't make sense, combined with me never making a pair of trousers before, but it all worked out. It was just as I'd cut them down, I must have cut the seam allowance too small, so one of the sides had opened up where the pocket is, so I just re-sewed that, and they were too long. And I think this is about the third time I've had to hem these trousers. I've got 2 pairs, but I think this is about the third time, so I've taken them up again, hopefully for the last time. But yeah, these are made from a pair of old Aladdin bed sheets, and I have one made from Notre Dame as well. And I've got leftovers of those 2, which I'm planning on making a pair of just dungarees to be in the house with. So I am going to stop to start sorting out dinner, and then when that is done, I can, I said, hopefully get the bias binding sewn in tonight, finished, so that the zip is the only thing I need left, because as soon as I get that done, I can then do the fitting for Sleeping Beauty. So I'm going to, before I put my machine away tonight, get the extra panel sewn in. I do need to do a bit of a tidy up, as the whole area is just more and more stuff being added as I've been filming and doing stuff. So I will do a bit of clean up. So I said the course, it hopefully will be done tomorrow, which is Saturday. So yeah, that means I might even get the bodice cut out Saturday afternoon wise, if as long as the mock-up doesn't go wrong. So I will see everyone later then. Okay, so just doing a quick end of Friday video. So the bias binding is sewn on to both their top and bottom. So the last thing to do is what I'm doing here, which is the whip stitches. I've got half of the top done. This actually took me about 40 minutes. Took me a bit longer than I thought. So Saturday, I don't know how much I'm going to get this done. So I'm literally going to start first thing Saturday, just getting the rest of this binding on. But I'm looking at probably about 3 or 4 hours of doing this. So we will see, but I still want to at least get the zip pinned in, if not sewn in tomorrow as well. So yeah, sewn in tomorrow as well. And then like I said, I will be working on a Sleeping Beauty. So okay, so I thought I'd just slip this in. So it's Saturday morning. Actually nice weather. We've had horrendous cold, windy and rain the last few days. So it's nice to actually have some natural sunlight coming in. So yeah, I'm gonna start doing this. Like I said, it took me about 40 minutes to do half of the top. So including drink, things like that, probably about 3 hours it's going to take me to finish. And then I've got to find a zip. I was thinking just using this one because it won't be seen. Okay, yes, it is long enough, but I do have a couple of others, so I'll just look. I know I don't have a white one in the right colour, but I might have a brown one to match the binding. But yeah, so it is coming on really nicely, which means I can get working Sleeping Beauty. I'm hoping from what the pattern looks like, it is very easy just to sew these pieces together, done. Like I said, I'm hoping. So the only thing I think might slow me down is if I'm going to sew any boning into the lining, just to prevent creasing. I might add just a couple on seams, but I haven't decided that yet. But what's probably going to take a lot longer for Sleeping Beauty is adding all trims and decorations. So I haven't even picked what trim is going down the bottom. I'm looking to get one that is a light blue to match, but possibly with pink on it as well to match the theme. But I haven't completely decided that yet. So we will see how it goes from there. Okay, so just adding this quick little snippet in. I have now done all of this. It did take me a while. It's Sunday now. Unfortunately, it did take longer than I would have hoped. Mostly because I don't own a thimble, and this fabric was a bit thick. It took a lot longer than I thought to go through, as I kept having to take breaks where my finger was hurting. But it's now all done. And when I went for my stash, it turns out I do have a white zipper, and it's a metal one, so hopefully this will hold up a lot better. So I'm going to be I'm going to pin this in. As you can see, I did add some extra width because I didn't know how the boning was going to affect it, and I had some problems, as you can see, through different bits. For some reason a lot of it didn't line up, and I keep having this problem with my machine, and I do mean to ask why, but for some reason, even though it's the exact same pieces, I cut them out at the exact same time. When you put them onto each other, they all line up the exact same size, but when I sew them, somehow the seams are never the same. And it happens all the time with my stuff for some reason, including lining, and I don't know why it doesn't match up. I do need to look that up, if it's a machine configuration or what. But I do the exact same seam allowance every single time on all my pieces, and this still happens. But if anyone does have any idea why that's happening, I'd be happy to have any help. So yeah, I'm going to pin this in, and then my mum's out right now, but she's the one who sometimes helps me with stuff. So when she gets back, I'm going to put it on, and we can check the fit, because it's obviously around the back where this is, so I need help to check the fit. As long as it doesn't need any changing, all I'm going to do is sew it in. I'm going to do it by hand because despite having a pack of, I think it's 30 different foot for my sewing machine, I don't have a zipper foot, and it always ends up really far away. So I'm just going to whip stitch it down. So depending on that, that might be it for today. But the corset hopefully will be finished by the end of the day, which means I can start working on Sleeping Beauty. And as I said, I haven't got the lace yet. I've got all the beads. I've got some appliques, and I have a lace fabric that I'm going to put over the top to create that darker bodice that you see in a lot of the imagery. But I don't have the lace for the back, for the bottom, or what I want to add for the white, because I've decided I'm not going to have the one standing up, because I need to have so much interfacing into that to keep it there. I'd rather do what some do, is just the band, more similar to Belle's from Beauty and the Beast. So I've just got to take the what's it called, the collar area of the pattern onto paper to make my own collar for that. But that shouldn't take too long, and I have all my fabric, so fingers crossed, and I am actually doing that nothing goes wrong. And then I can, as soon as I know, like I said, how wide my skirt is going to be, I can go through the very, very long list of laces I have picked and select which one I'm actually going to buy. And it'll be about 2 or 3 weeks till it gets here, so that hopefully all will go right. So I will see you in a little bit then. Okay, the corset is done. It is Sunday afternoon, and I did manage to get it completely done. One thing I didn't realise until after I fitted it, this zip is actually a complete take apart zip, so I don't have to worry about shimmying it over my head to actually get it on. I just wrap it around and zip up. So that I am very happy with. It's not perfect, but this is my first ever making of one, so I am very happy about that. So I'm going to start having to wear it for a little while, every couple of days, just to help it get used to my shape a bit more to finish. And it does also need a wash because all the chalk marks are still on it, but it is there, it is made. So I am now going to start Sleeping Beauty, which is adding the extra panels. And then when I have someone around, they can help take it in. Normally I do it myself, but the problem is with the back, so I need someone to help and tell me if it looks right. But I can get started at least. So I will see everyone later. Okay, so corset is finished. It is Sunday evening. So I managed to finish the corset this afternoon. And then I put the mock-up in. I added the panel, just sewed it in, which is why my machine is out. Pinned the zip in, put the corset on, and then put that on. And unfortunately, I had a lot more changes than I thought. I was hoping by adding that panel in the back, it would just fit. I'd have to take it in possibly at the shoulders, and that'd be that. But when it actually got fitted onto me, because my back isn't, both sides aren't the same for my back, one side needs to be taken in at the shoulder more than the other. Well, this is the original mock-up. The armholes needed to be made bigger. The side panels don't actually go to my side. It did need to be made slightly bigger. And it also sits far too high on my body. Obviously I have a longer body than the pattern, you would think. So I've now got to, basically I'm just starting a completely new mock-up. So I've got that panel. This is the panel I need to make the longest and most, whereas it's just this curve goes just far too high that it sits literally right at the top of my waist, and I needed to sit a bit lower, more to my hips. But I also need to make this wider as well, and then the armhole needs to come down here as well. So it was just going to be one of those where I'd have to just keep taking apart, adding new panels. So it was a lot quicker to just make it a brand new mock-up from scratch. Dinner's going to be ready in a little while, so my goal for the rest of the evening, well, I want to get all of this marked out before dinner. Hopefully I can get it all cut out, and then depending on how I feel, I might be able to get it sewn together tonight as well. If not, that'll be the first thing I do on Monday. So a little bit long, it's going to take a little bit longer than I thought, but this is the first time I actually had something that goes off the shoulders, which didn't feel like it was falling down my shoulders at least, and I don't have to put a huge dart in because of my chest. So minor changes need to be made, but if everything goes well this time, which fingers crossed it does, I can get started on this. So we will see where we go from there. I did also, just as a little extra, because I had the machine out, I've made myself another scrunchie, just because I use them so often, and because they're made from 100% cotton, I can wear them, and then instead of having to throw them away like you do normal hairbands, I just put them in the washing machine. They get washed and they're all fine, and because of me making them, I know where the seam is. If the elastic does still go and I still want it, because the fabric's still alright, I can just take it apart, put new elastic in, and be all done. So that's where we're at. So I said main hopeful was the corset done, yay. So onto this, which I had hoped wouldn't have had as many problems, but it did. So we will just get it on with it and hopefully get this done. My goal is, as I said, to have this mock-up done by Monday evening so I can start working this, because I have now only got for about 6 weeks left to do this, and I've still got, I wanted to make another full costume and do alterations and working on Emily. So I started a bit late. Mostly said I'd never made a corset before, and I had to make a lot more changes than I thought I would. And then with the problem with my machine, and also the problem where I broke all my needles, I lost some time. So we will get back onto this. Hopefully just everything else will go right from here and I'll be able to get working on it. Hey everyone, so I apologise if the footage is completely different than the rest of this video. My phone has gone flat, so I'm recording this using my iPad, because obviously I want to get this quickly filmed, but at the same time I need to move on. So this is my original mock-up, and as I said, you can tell from the pen marks and such there were several changes needed. Different bits lengthened, some taken in, some taken out. So rather than have just multiple different panels, I made a brand new mock-up, which is what I've been working on today. And still, as you can see, with when I lengthened it, I made it so it's 2 different lengths. So we've got more pen marks to get in blue, like that. So the sides need to come up a bit, as well as the back coming up, because it just sits just slightly too long on my back. Also, because of how my spine curves, we've got to add this. It was originally going to be 2 darts, but it worked out. It'll be a lot easier to just cut this, and because of how little needs to be taken in, I'm literally going to cut it, add seam allowance to one side, and then have it as 4-piece rather than a 1-piece back panel. But it means it sits into the curve of my back a lot better. So that's that. And it had to be taken in a little bit at the armholes as well, underneath the armholes. But considering I had to add several inches, I think I had to add 1.5 inches to the front side panel, so that it would actually sit at my side rather than too far forward. I was expecting to have to possibly take that in, so it fits nicely, just got to take it in the side. And this is done, the fitting for all this was done over my corsets as well, so it does fit nicely. It's still slightly baggy, but I'm going to obviously have the skirt as a separate piece underneath it, and I want to be able to move around and sit. So the slight bagginess works. It still looks nice and flat, and it's going to look even more so when I put some of the webbing boning in. I'm not going to do proper boning with bone channel. I'm just going to put that boning in through the lining, just put some bits like that, mostly just to not have all the fabric rot up as I'm wearing it. So that's that. And I've also gone through, this is not all of my stash, ironically, but this is a lot of the more newer stuff I have. So I found all my blue beads, and a lot of these, weirdly, have things like this where they are blue with purpley pink insides to add colour. And I even found these rose like beads, which I might work into as the necklace. So that's that. I also got Emily, which is in that pile there, out of my cupboard so that I can start doing the beading. And ignore that pattern, that is what I might be working on after Comic-Con. And then went through my patterns and found this, and this is the sleeve pattern that I'm going to be using, because I know it works for me. It actually comes slightly too long in the arm, but I can just roll it up, take the hem up and have it wider. But that is all good. So I said it is now Monday evening, so my last job of the day is going to be seam ripping all this. The fitting did take a bit longer because it was obviously put it on, do this, take it off to do the marking and pins correctly, put it back on, walk, and obviously you have to walk around and sit in it. You can't just stand there, because you're not going to just stand most of the day. I personally, when I'm at conventions, I go to a lot of talks and that, so I can be sitting for several hours, and it is a long day where most times I'm waking up, I think it's like 6 in the morning to leave, because I have to be drive to a close train station to London, which is about 40 minutes away, and then it's about another 40-minute train ride. So taking time to actually get on trains, get off trains, queues, that's 2 hours on its own. I obviously have to get ready, and the convention start at like 8 in the morning, so you can understand, 8 or 9 in the morning I think it is, so you can understand why it's that. And they don't finish till it's like 7 to 9 o'clock at night, depending on also if you're going to the after parties. So it is incredibly long day, tiring days of, and there's like I said 3 in that, which is why I usually end up having to take a week to recover, because I normally can't even move on the Monday. So I said it is coming along really nice. It now completely fits, the pattern works, so it is a case of get all this marked out. And what I'm going to do, rather than try and make all the changes, I'm just going to use these pattern pieces as the actual pattern to cut it out. And I have to cut this out twice from my blue fabric, and then once from the dark blue that is the lace to go with it, and then that's sleeves. And we went through some of my other patterns, which are these ones, to get a vague idea, because unfortunately this is the pattern I'm using, which like I said I absolutely love, but the skirt is just too huge for Sleeping Beauty one, so I was looking at these two for more reference. And then this one says to use just under 3 meters for skirt, so I think I've got about 7 meters left over when I cut the bodice out, and I wanted to do a petticoat. So what I was thinking was 4 meters for the over, like the actual skirt, and then the petticoat is going to be 3 meters, which I can add some like ruffles just to help poof it out a bit. So that will be what I get started on. So my goal is, like I said, tonight is to just get this taken apart, and then tomorrow I have to iron the fabric. I'm not going to iron the whole thing first. I'm going to set up the ironing board and just iron what I need first, because I wouldn't have the patience to do 10 meters in one go, and then try and get it pinned. So my goal for the end of Tuesday is to have the bodice pieces pinned onto the fabric. So it is progressing. So the fitting, it took a bit longer. I was hoping it was literally make those changes, put it all on and go, okay, that's it, that's perfect. And that was, I said, multiple different, just little tweaks just to get it to be right, because I don't want, like I said, it was bagging under the arm at first, so we fixed that. Then it was that the back didn't sit completely right, and we figured it was literally just take 2 centimeters off the back and it sits fine. It was just that little extra bit of because of the curve of my back. And then the middle of my back was a bit gapy, so if we took it in where the zips are going to be, it didn't look right. It pulled in the wrong places, which hence why we've added the seaming, which again, those seams will help cause it to curve back to my back more. So we are progressing. Okay, so it is Monday evening now. I was a bit in the zone, so I didn't pick up my camera. I'll apologise if you hear some noise, that's Bailey in the background. But this is the pattern I've been using to make this, and then what you can see here is the seam ripped apart second mock-up. And the reason for that is that the original mock-up, as I said, I thought it just needed some extra back panels and it would be fine. But when I actually got the back panels in, it was, as I thought, a bit too large and I'd have to dart. But in the end, the darts, where they ended up, was the not middle, but a side, what would be the side back of my back. So if I can find one. Here we go. So as you can see along this line here, the darts pretty much went from the middle to 2 V's. So I thought it'd be a lot easier to just cut this fabric here, and then when I put it onto the actual fabric, I will add seam allowance to it. So what was a 5-panel bodice has turned into 7, but it means it fits my back a lot better, which due to my scoliosis is a bit weird, hence each side is a little different. And I also had to make some changes to the side, as you can see here, where I put plus what's on the other side, plus seam allowance onto it. Sorry, yeah, I put plus seam allowance there, and that is under the arms, where I had to add some more fabric as well as I cut the second mock-up out to take the side front panel to actually sit under my arms at the side, as they were about 2.5 inches too far forward. So that resulted in me also having to take some fabric in at the sides. Again, it was the to save having 2 darts on each side. It was just easier to take in, make this line a little wobbled, as you can see here, to not be a straight line anymore, but it means it fits better. Sorry, one sec. Okay, so yeah, it fits better now. So I have this, and then this. The sleeves for this, I'm using the non-parted sleeves, is going to be what I mark out to be the sleeves of this costume, and it ends up for me being a little bit long in the arms. So all I have to do is make the hem a lot bit wider, which is okay for me because this fabric does look like it's going to fray a bit. So being able to hem, double hem it and such, is probably going to be a lot easier. So I will get on to working with the fabric. Okay, so it's Tuesday. I have now got all the pattern pieces for the bodice seam ripped and cut. It took a bit longer than I thought. I forgot how much time seam ripping takes me when I'm obviously doing it not to preserve the pieces, because some of these pieces are now just so strange with different curves added to fit my body. I'm going to at a later date transfer the paper, but for now I'm just going to use the pattern pieces as the actual pattern. So they're there. So first order of business is to start ironing out all the fabric. So I've got to iron this and then mark out 2 bodice and the sleeve patterns. So I will get started on that now. Okay, so quick update. I thought I'd do it just because it's so driving me insane. This fabric basically hates me. It's ended up with the creases not wanting to completely come out unless I have to. I've been using a spray bottle to spray the fabric and essentially soak it, and then use the iron on the hottest setting to press all the basically press it flat to get all the wrinkles out. And that is, by the look of it, the only way to get the crinkles and wrinkles out of this fabric. So I've decided I'm only doing the metre and a half that I need for the bodice right now. I will then work out what I need for the sleeves and iron that, and then the rest of it, which is the skirt and the petticoat, what I'm going to do is quickly put it on like just a spin cycle of the machine and then iron it from there. But I'm only going to do that when I need it, because my wrists are already killing me and it's taken me over half an hour just to do the 1 meter. So I will work with what I've got, and bit by bit, so I don't end up causing myself too much pain. So okay, so just doing a quick update. It is now Friday evening. I haven't been feeling well, but I managed to clip my goal of doing one component on Wednesday, Thursday and today, which was the lining layer, the outer layer, and then the sleeves today. So the only part of the bodice that I have to cut out left is the lace out of this, and I obviously have to be very careful with this, because this lace is only one side, the right side and the wrong side, so I have to make sure all the pieces are put down and marked correctly, which I will be working on. I'm hoping to get it all pinned tonight, and then tomorrow when I've got the house to myself, I'm going to cut out and hopefully at least pin all together. And then this is the fabric. I haven't completely measured, depending on how much you use. I have anywhere from 6.5 to 7.5, possibly 8 meters of it. I'm leaning more to probably I have somewhere between about 7 meters. And like I said, unfortunately it does take a while to iron out, but this is going to be the skirt, and then a smaller cut of it is going to make a petticoat to go underneath, which I'm going to attach. I've got several of these as lace, and I have some pre-cut blue organza reels which I'm going to use as well. And like I said, I have managed to, even though I haven't been at my best, as you can probably hear, still get at least something done. So I will be progressing onwards, and hopefully, like I said, my main priority, rather than trying to work on Sleeping Beauty, Nifty and Emily at the same time, I'm going to focus on sewing all of Sleeping Beauty first, and then while I am while I'm waiting for the lace, whatever lace I pick to go on this to come, depending on how much time I've got before Comic-Con, I will either just work on improving Emily, or I will possibly work on Nifty. I haven't decided yet, but I will keep getting progress and check in a bit. Okay everyone, so it is Saturday afternoon. I spent this morning doing editing of putting the clips I've recorded for this video so far together and doing the speed up. I haven't done any of the actual editing out ums and repeated sentences yet, but I've so it's just putting all the raw footage together. So as I said, last time I recorded for this was last night, when I was saying I was going to get this pinned. So this is a rough pin. Mostly it was just to make sure that everything fit into the fabric, which I do still have a nice chunk left over, so that's cool. But yeah, so everything fit, and I just had to make sure that everything was pinned on the right way up, such as like these panels, what was the top and the bottom of the panel. So I marked those out, and to make sure that all the pieces are the right way up, which I'm not sure this one is. No, this one's not. Okay, so I've got to flip this one. Which, again, this is why I double checked it. But I do have the lining all pinned together with the seams the wrong way to what you normally would, so that when you put it with the rest of the fabric, the seams face inwards. So I'm going to take this off the ironing board because the obviously squishiness of it makes it harder to pin. So I'll put that on the table and do it, and then, because you can probably hear it, is Bailey. Hey yo! Hey yo, Bailey. That is Bailey, which you will probably have heard me talking about in the background of videos, as she likes to play a lot when I'm trying to sew. So I've now got to just flip this panel, but every other panel is the correct way round. So that means I can start cutting this tonight and hopefully assembling it. And then the only other thing I've now got to do is sew the lining together. And put boning. Oh, no, wait. Yep. Okay, so yes, everything is going okay. Okay, so yeah, I had to think for myself, so I had to edit out a bit of talking. So the bottom panel, okay, so my front panel is here. That is also going to have some interfacing ironed onto it, which I can do after I've cut the lace out. And I'm going to do some of my webbing boning, which is just the sew-on kind, into some of the lining here, just for a bit more added stability, so that it doesn't wrinkle up as I'm wearing it. But yeah, everything is actually going quite well, so I will get back to you after I finish pinning all of this in. Okay, so I'm going to take a bit longer than I thought now. As I'm cutting this, I'm realising, as you can see, how many gaps are in this. And when I cut out how hard it's going to be to sew it together, I was originally doing it as a separate layer, but that doesn't seem to work. So what I'm now going to do is unpin the pieces and pin them with the lace over the top. And then I'm going to hand baste all of them down, mostly because I do very small seams, unfortunately, so it takes a bit to do it right with machine basting. If I want to do that, I have to pre-plan bigger seams, which I haven't for this. So I'm going to baste all the pieces down, which should make it a lot easier to obviously sew this together. So I've also got to, as you can see, all these markings on this piece means I'm going to have to take them out. Or actually no, I won't. Obviously I'll be washing the bodice before I wear it, so that will come out then, so I don't need to. So that's that. So yeah, now I have all the pieces, as you can see here, roughly cut out. So I am just going to, I'm glad I decided to do this before I completely cut everything out. That way, if there's any moving, I can fix it. But yeah, so I hadn't planned to do this. So I think I have, yes, okay, because I was working on Snow White, I do have a bright yellow thread which will show up. That way, if when I'm seaming anything is visible, I can just take out the stitches. So that is that. So I said that is now going to take me a bit longer, so I'm going to have to set up to just sit down at the table and work, but it means in the long run that the seams on all the lace layer won't come undone from the gaps where it wasn't able to thread, which could create bulging in the area. So I'm glad I figured this out now before I had started assembling everything, as the lace would have been the last layer I sewed, and I would have had to then seam ripped everything to put it back together. So get started on this now then. Okay, so it is Sunday evening. I got all the basting done to join the pieces together. As I said, when you're going through all these gaps, it wouldn't have been able to hold the thread together properly, so it was just easier to do that. But I haven't been feeling completely good again today, so the only thing I've really done is ironed on the interfacing, because when I kept trying to do pinning, I've stabbed myself multiple times and I just feel too tired, so I thought it's just better to get an early night and start to try again tomorrow. I did go through all my supplies and I managed to find the bias binding that I'm going to use, which is actually a pretty good colour match. And I think Trimmed is the name. I bought these off this off Amazon. I've got multiple colours. And the other thing I managed to find while I was going through is this, and this is a 23 metre pale blue organza, which I plan to use for the what's it called, the ruffles. But one thing I've written out, these are really expensive now, so I might look at using strips of tulle instead. I haven't fully decided. Depends how, when I make the skirt, and how roughly I need it. But progress has at least been made. So I said all the bodice pieces are cut out, all the pieces are basted here together. So tomorrow all I have to do is pin the top layer and lace layer together and the sleeves, because the lining is already pinned, and sew it. So oh, the other thing I have to do is mark out where do I want to sew boning on. But I think the best bet first is to sew this outer layer together, put it on and look in like the mirror and see where does it crease or try to ride up the most, and from there put the bone channels. Mostly this is just to stop the bodice from rising up and roughing when I'm moving. So I don't need too many, probably just like one, maybe two per panel. I'm probably adding a bit more along the front and the back just to help, which is again what the interfacing was for. But the bodice is definitely coming along. So I do hope to have this completely done by the end of the week. But I said, if I'm still tired and dizzy a lot, I'm working obviously a lot slower. But like I said, I'm trying to do at least one task each day, just so something is getting done and I don't start panicking myself. Hey everyone, so it's Tuesday afternoon. I'm not 100% back to normal, but I am definitely getting there. So Christmas, I finally found my beads that I was looking for. So it was these ones especially I was looking for Sleeping Beauty, and then these ones I wanted to use, mostly this one and a couple of these for Emily. But I definitely wanted to use these, and I picked up I think I have 5 of these, and I plan to use these to make a pair of earrings and a necklace to go with this. So the only thing I actually needed to buy jewellery wise is a tiara. That's because I don't own a gold one that well, the only gold one I own has red in it, so it won't work for this. So I will be, when I pick my lace, I'll be picking that as well. And while I was going through, I found this was a project I did a couple of years ago. And this has lots of blue, so while I won't be using silver beads or these, I can definitely use all the blues here. Possibly, I'm not too sure, I might add sequins, but I'm not sure yet. But onto the actual bodice itself, everything is pinned. So I have my lining, both my sleeves, and then this one. It was going to be 2 separate layers, but as I said, because of all the holes in the lace, when I did a bit of testing with some scrap pieces, the threads obviously weren't holding it together, and there was huge gaps and bulging, and it was just easier. So I also, as you can see from these bright yellow threads, I basted all of the lace to the other layer, and then I've pinned them all together. So I am going to say, first thing though, as it's Tuesday, my dad is going to be visiting my nanny, so I need to fix her dress. You might have, if you've watched one of my previous videos, seen that I did already do this. My nanny is, I think she's actually only 4'10" now. So this dress was much too long, and I took several inches off, and it was still too long. So she's asked, can I take another 2 inches off? And as my dad's going to go and see her today, I'm going to get that done. As I said, I'm not a fan of the fabric because of how stretchy it is, but it stretches horizontal, not vertical. So when you're trying to mark the fabric, it doesn't mark, it just stretches, and the lines aren't always even. So the easiest way is to just pin it. So I'm going to pin the 2 inches up from the hem, and then pin my seam allowance down from it, and then cut along that pinned line before sewing it. My machine is still set up for white thread, luckily, so I didn't change it yet. So I will do that dress first, and then I want to try and get this sewn as well, because I realised to make this look much neater, I am going to have to do most, if not all, the beading before I sew all these layers together. So obviously I need to start doing a lot of the beading now, because we have, I think it's 5 weeks, five maybe 6 weeks until Comic-Con. And obviously I am very much behind, mostly not feeling well this week. I had hoped to get all of this done by last Friday, so about 4 or 5 days ago at least, but I wasn't, so that will obviously, like I said, be setting me a bit behind. So like I said, the goal for the end of the day is to get that dress done, which I've got to do soon because my dad will be going to see her in about 2 or 3 hours, so I should have just enough time to finish stuff. And then my evening will be, like I said, sewing this, which luckily is just a lot of straight lines, or some wavy lines, but just lines basically to get it all. As I said, I interfaced the very front panel, and then on the lining layer I'm going to be having a couple of boning channels just to help keep the fabric from ruffling up, and possibly a couple of boning channels on the back panels, mostly because, like I said, I ended up, you can see some of the curves are very weird and everything matches exactly, and that was because when we were taking the darts in, the lines were very curved and S, but I'm making progress. So at least I have managed to stick to my goal of getting at least one thing done per day. to not be completely stand still on this. So I will trying to think what it is. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so I will check in after I've got at least the dress done, if not possibly this sewn as well. I have brought the thread down so that I can start working. So I've picked a thread that matches this for the sleeves and the lining, and then for these layers a thread that matches the lace. So let's get started then. Okay, so everyone, I have now got all of the pieces sewn together. It looks a bit different. I'm in my bedroom right now. It's gotten a bit late, so I went to bed, but because of how weird my sleep schedule is, and I sometimes just wake up in the middle of the night for a couple of hours before I have to go back off to sleep. So I'm going to start keeping the bodice on me to actually like sew whether I'm upstairs or downstairs. So I haven't completely decided. I might be ending the video here. It is Tuesday evening. Like I said, the bodice, this is the outer layer, so what you'll see, the lining and the sleeves are also done. So the next step, like I said, is to do most, if not all, of the beading before I sew this together, because I don't want all these stitches to be visible. You can still see the bright yellow stitching of the basting stitches. I have not taken those out yet. That will be a task to do as I'm going. And I might be rebasting the bottom, although I don't think that will be necessary how this is going. It does seem to be quite alright, so I think I can leave it. So I have gone through my stash, and basically, so I started, this was the box, no, wrong one. Okay, this is the box I was looking for ages, like I said. Okay, that's better. Sorry, I have to change my lighting. So I have, oh right, so these are the dark blues. I'm not sure I'm going to use them because they don't show up too much. These are a bit too purpley. I do have some pinks, but I might use those only on the skirt. And then the smaller ones I'm going to use into the bodice as well. And then I've got these are the same beads in pack. I got them, as you can see, for about £1 for them, and these are really nice. So I'm going to put these random places. I've just got to make sure I don't pick any of the green ones up. And then next stash I have these three. So these are a blue with multi-coloured flecks in them. I have just plain darker blue ones, and then these ones are blue but with a pink middle. It looks a bit purple, so I'm not completely certain I'm going to use these, only because it's more purple than the pale pink I'm thinking of using, but we will see. And the only thing I'm going to do right now is go through my stash. I think the main thing I'm going to do is take these beads, if I can get to focus, and I'm just going to sew over these, sew on these middle of these dots with them, because there are a lot of them as just random, so I thought that would be a nice start to do. And then from there I can decide what else I'm going to add. I obviously, because this is Disney Princess, I want it to be very ridiculously sparkly. Although I have also got some appliques that I could possibly use. Okay, I'm going to have to think on that, if I'm going to use the appliques or not, because I don't want to start sewing these dots and then bring in a load of appliques and just cover what work I've done. Although I do definitely want to do that. So what I might do is start the dots on the other panels, and because the appliques will only go on the front panel, so if I start working the dots on the other panels, I can then decide if I'm going to do the appliques after. So I have at least a starting game plan. And I said, I don't know how much more this video is going to be. I'll have an outro if I do decide, but mostly because right now it's just going to be me hours of hand sewing to sew these on. So I'll see whether I decide to or not. Okay, so I originally said I wasn't sure if I was going to be filming anymore, but I ended up going back downstairs because I needed a drink anyway, so I ended up grabbing the appliques, and this is what I've ended up doing, and I do like the design. So I'm gonna have a look at it in a different light tomorrow and see how it goes. What I've been doing this evening is sewing those beads on, and ironically they don't show up much in the light, but they do tend to add a little bit of a sparkle in photos and such. So I'm going to keep up and do the like I said, just the little dots on here. Going to put a bead in. It not only does it add, like I said, a little sparkle, it does help secure the lace down more, so be doing that. Okay, so it is Thursday, so this has turned into another 2-week vlog. I'm going to end it here mostly because, as I said, what I'm going to be doing next, for possibly the next week, is all hand sewing, which it just takes hours. So it's not going to be very visually interesting to watch. So I will, like I said, finish the video here, and then when I'm either finished or nearly finished with all the beading, I will start the next vlog, as I will be then, I said, finishing this and working on the skirt. But I started putting the appliques on yesterday, and I am about 2/3 through the final one, and I have the, sorry about sunlight, there we go, I have the side front panel, have the crystal beads, I think that'd be the best word for them, and I'm also going to put those beads at the centre of all the flowers. And like I said, because this is a Disney princess dress, I do plan to just absolutely overload this bodice with beads and sparkle, so that when the sun hits it, it just looks like it's shining. Hence why I use these appliques, because the outside is done with like metallic thread, so it doesn't show up completely contrast. It matches really well with the blue lace, but it is just another layer of sparkle where I don't have to do as much beading to get that. So okay, so but like I said, still not 100%, but because of all beading and that, it is something I can literally just sit and do, so I can get to that. So like I said, I will end this here. I did it, like I said, make very nice progress in the end, despite spending half of this sick. But like I said, the bodice itself, all the components themselves are now sewn together. So as soon as I finish beading, all I have to do is pin this together. Oh wait, no, I have to add boning first. But when that's done, all I have to do is pin this together, and then put bias binding around the ends and finish it off. I do still need to do a knit ruffle, but I'm going to class that as a separate piece because I haven't fully worked out if it's just going to be a tube or if I have to actually pattern out a circle or anything yet. I am really hoping that the tube would work just fine because of how off the shoulder it is to just do that, but I don't have the fabric for it yet, so that's something to look for. Everyone, so I decided to do an outro in the end for this video. It will be a bit off. I'm recording this a week after I actually stopped filming, but as I said, this is going to take me a bit longer than I thought as I'm adding all this extra bits. I am actually 2/3 of the way. Oh no, I'm actually done with the third colour now, and I've got at least one more I want to do, so it's taking me about a day and a half each colour, and then I've got to start beading it. So yeah, it is progress, but it is now into October, so I have less than a month, so I am going to have to ramp up and start doing this stuff in the evening and working on the skirt and the petticoat during the day. So that will be what I start obviously in my next video. But yeah, so progress is obviously, like I said, being made. It's just, as with a lot of hand stuff, it takes a while. Only other thing I've done, I went to Harry Potter for my birthday yesterday. And on my birthday, because I'd forgotten beforehand, I quickly made this Harry Potter themed bow to go in my hair. So, I will see everyone later. I'm hoping to post this, I'm going to say Monday because I realised I haven't done any editing for this yet. And I have about 4 hours of footage to go through. Obviously, so I want to try and cut out a load of my ummings as usual. So I've got filming to do today, so I will probably be editing Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, I'm hoping to post this up on Monday. So I will see everyone later.